Quest 2023 will be a little bit of a revenge year.
Everyone loves a comeback story.
The expectation when you come here and he makes finals 7 years in a row is to continue to make it.
Like, you enter the floor and there's no doubt in your mind. No matter what's going to happen, you're going to own it.
I want us all to feel like we put everything into this year that we possibly could.
Are we going to get back in finals? Are we going to get to where I want to be, which is the top 10?
I think it's important that this year is a statement. Atlanta Quest is an independent drumline. It's based in Atlanta, Georgia. We're a world-class group.
Kids from 16 to 22 come here and they spend about 6-7 months with us, rehearsing every weekend almost to get the show as good as it can be.
It is a place where we can take members who are trying to get to a new level of not just percussion knowledge, but performance knowledge. Think of it as a bigger thing, like a plus for members to learn how to be part of a larger community.
We go up to Dayton every year for world-class finals, and we're hoping to make finals again this year.
So the audition process, there are multiple steps.
They show up day one and we kind of tell them about us. Say, here's Atlanta Quest. Here's how we do what we do. Here's why we do what we do.
Just want to say a few things before we start the day, right? So today is about, I would say, 2 things, right? It's about you guys learning as much as you can. So it's you're bringing us what you have currently. You are what you are, you know what you know, right? And you need to put your best foot forward in terms of your current skill set, but you're probably going to be told some things differently than what you've been told before.
For Quest, you get the whole packet for the audition.
Basically, the staff just kind of walks through the packet.
Different scales, different permutations.
We see, who's at what point. The staff gives some feedback to everyone.
Any unison stuff, I wouldn't highlight unless.
So when the techs give you comments, you want to try your best to improve, like show improvement that day so they can see that you can make changes fast.
So the way you improve is by self-introspection and asking yourself, what did I just do wrong? What have I been coached to do? And what mistake did I make? And then let's rectify it next time, yeah?
The staff really wants to hear what you can do, like how much sound quality you can play with, how perfect your rhythms are.
We just evaluate where they're at, how prepared they are, their ability to move visually, the little dance aspects we have.
Roll up 2 and jump 4 and 5, 6.
And then we kind of trim the list after the second week, bring back the people we think have a good chance of making the line. In week 3, we evaluate who we think's going to be the best fit.
Every year we kind of decide a little bit on what type of show we want to do year to year. So we knew we wanted to do something that's a little more on the nose, had a little more narrative to it. We kick around ideas constantly.
Alan and I were talking on the phone about kind of all the ideas we had run through. Nothing was really clicking. We had ideas that we loved, but when we went to develop the storyline, we kind of hit a couple snags, but this one came actually in a dream of mine.
I keep this little sheet, and years ago, because I'm a big comic book nerd, I had written down Sandman.
In the dream, I was talking to the Sandman, and I woke up the next morning. It made no sense to me. I was like, what was that? So I called Alan.
And he calls me up about this dream he had, and I was just like, this must be kismet here.
So I just jotted a couple ideas down and talked to him about it.
This year's show is called Bring Me a Dream.
So when we talked about this show, everyone could attach to it emotionally, but it's also something that you can individualize and kind of compartmentalize what it would feel like to be inside of a nightmare or a dream that turns into a nightmare.
But Zach having that idea and then speaking with Kevin and just talking about what we could do with it musically, what it would look like from a theatrical standpoint.
So when they brought Bring Me a Dream, kind of focusing on the Sandman and the whole idea of stealing dreams, immediately I'm thinking 1,000 different sounds, because dreams can come from pretty much anywhere. Whole tone scales, the whole dreamscape of all of our childhoods. You can go focus more onto what that sand would sound like in different spots. Then I try to delve into, well, are there any sort of songs that immediately come to mind when I think about this?
Billy.
So there's a song called Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish, and it starts out with some very spot-on lyrics and then ends up with, if we all fall asleep, where will we go? And that kind of just, right there when I heard that, it was like, that has to be the beginning.
The 3 of us met over the phone, met in person multiple times, talked about our goals.
well, if we're doing a Sandman show, well, what happens there? What happens here? Like, how do we tell this story to the audience and make it enjoyable, but also make it an indoor drumline show that the kids can show off their talents?
We had an intent to be early, have it fully designed, get it out there before the new year. We actually brought in Island, a new visual designer.
My name is Island, and I work on the movement and choreography and help design the show visually. The show itself is a dreamscape. So the Sandman puts a character to sleep, our main character, and then during this time she wakes up in a dreamland. So the whole stage shifts and everything changes, and then it builds in curiosity, and then it builds in fear, and then it builds in all these characters of development through a dreamland, and then what's reality and what's not.
It seemed like the staff really had a true vision of how it was going to play out. They just had a very clear vision, and that was the best part for me. And I feel like when the staff showed us that they had that from the get-go, it inspired confidence in everyone in the room.
The most important thing that we had to improve was getting the kids to connect with the show, getting the kids to understand their role in the show, and letting the crowd understand the show.
I'm really excited. I thought it was really well put together. There's a lot of cool moments so far, and I really like the fact that we're branching out with what you can do with a visual ensemble.
I've never marched a dark show before, so I'm beyond excited.
This is my 6th year with Quest, and I've been truly excited to be a performer in the show, to be a part of it.
Last year's competitive season was unfortunately a little disappointing. Definitely didn't finish where we like to, didn't finish where we historically have finished. We missed finals for the first time. Hell, we missed semifinals for the first time.
I mean, we all saw the scores last year. We all were there in Dayton when it happened. We didn't get to perform semis or finals, which isn't something Quest has been able to say that they've done in years.
After last year, I feel like we could have taken a hit in the amount of people that show up to audition with us because they think, oh, Quest, like, they're going downhill, why would I want to join them?
And with that disappointment, admittedly, I think it's probably just a failure competitively, right? The kids had a great time, they met friends, they learned, but they come here to succeed, right? They come to perform on finals night, and that's the standard that we have set, and that is my expectation.
Certainly there's something we can rectify, but I think you gotta be real with yourself about what you did the last 2 weeks. I thought we made great progress, right? We broke down exercises, we broke down technique more than we have in years, and I feel like despite having a good groundwork of things to improve, I think we're all worse than where the last time was. And maybe not all, right? But as a whole, we are worse. Yes. So you gotta be real with yourself and ask yourself, did you spend the right amount of time doing the right stuff? I don't think we were better at any single thing today than we were 2 weeks ago. I would say I'm moderately disheartened because I felt like we were doing this, and now it feels like we didn't just do this, we did this. Yeah. So it's on y'all to get us back up.
Right now, we're in a state of change. We kind of sat there on semis and watched every group that beat us. Right? We took notes. We figured what we did well, what we did poorly, what we can improve on.
I would equate it to sports. Everyone can lose a game, but everyone lives a comeback story as well.
I think it's important that this year is a statement in a lot of ways, just because Quest has been on the finals floor at UD basically every year. I've done it.
This one's a little crucial in terms of sustaining culturally what we've already built.
People in the activity know our name, they know people from it because of the culture we build. So I think more so about bringing the culture back.
So I think that's what we're trying to do is, one, get confidence back in the community around here. And two, yeah, it's are we going to get back in finals? Are we going to get to where I want to be, which is the top 10? The expectation when you come here and he makes finals 7 years in a row is to continue to make it. And everyone says, you know, we do this for the memories. We do it, you know, to have fun. We do it to get better. Yes, we do. But the experience is so much better when you're in finals night. There's nothing like the lot. There's nothing like hundreds of people around you when the sun's going down and then you go in there in finals and everyone's going crazy. There's nothing like that.
At the end of every year, there's always a book, if you would, of things that we want to refine or do differently. And the goal for us every year is to make that book smaller and smaller.
I want the group to do well competitively, but really empower these kids to get back to where they should be. So that's my goal, is to give them a product that they believe in. I want them to have confidence while they're moving and playing and believe in the product that they have.
I think a lot of people believe in Quest. They believe in what's possible for the organization. I'm taking on a little bit more than I have in the past as a section leader. And so one of my main goals is just to try and do everything I can to make sure the battery's all on the same page. I think it will really show that if you put the work in the right places, you're gonna get the result you want.
I want us all to feel like we put everything into this year that we possibly could. My goals for the front ensemble is just to be the best front ensemble that Quest has ever had. I think we were very close last year, but I really think that we can do it this year. We have the staff and we have the potential of the members.
As I, approach the end of my time with Quest, I want to make sure that I'm leaving it in a position where it's going to be able to succeed for many, many more years.
So I want people to look back at Atlanta Quest 2023, say there's the guys that got us back on track. There's the guys that got us back in the top 10, and they're the guys that reinstilled the culture.
I just want them to go out there and have a blast. Like, you enter the floor and there's no doubt in your mind. No matter what's gonna happen, you're gonna own it. Like, get on the floor and be like, I've got this.
Quest 2023 ideally will be a little bit of a revenge year.
People who don't really know what Quest is, they're kind of like, oh, Quest is on the decline. Like, after last year, like, they're not going anywhere. And I want to prove them wrong. I think we all have that fire inside of us, and I think we're ready to go there and show people this is Quest, like this is who we are, and do way better than last year and just show up.
The first show, it's weird for me because I had to go handle some family stuff for a month, handed the reins over, so to speak, and I think Micah stepped up beautifully.
My name is Micah Hanner. My role at the group is technically battery coordinator, but I'm also motivator, screamer.
Yeah, can we get only members in this area? We're not gonna have time for comments. We're gonna have time to dial stuff in and then get ready for the show.
I'm yelling at kids to reset. I'm telling them to believe in themselves. I'm scheduling when the staff is there, whatever it takes. We got a lot on the line. We really have put a lot into the preseason. We've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort. There hasn't been one single weekend that we haven't shown up with a plan, what we need to execute, and expectations. Going into this first show is when it all kind of matters.
We want to come out here and be like, here's Atlanta Quest. Like, we are back and better than ever.
We want to make sure we set the right tone to carry us through the rest of the season.
As soon as we get done with the last deck. We need a target, and then we gotta go. Go! It's gonna be the world's fastest move.
I think there are some pre-show jitters. You're getting used to playing with these people for the first time in front of an audience for the first time.
IQ on three, IQ on three. 1, 2, 3, IQ!
There are some nerves with that, but it really is, going into this first show, I'm feeling, let's see what happens. Let's just try, let's put our best foot forward.
Place to be, beats the drum.
There's always some wrinkles that happen, whether it's logistically or just weird first show stuff.
It was pouring rain.
We didn't have enough tarps to get everything from point A to point B.
It is literally a nightmare going on for our first show.
Tarps flying and you see raindrops and your shoes are wet. It can be really difficult to stay focused because you're focused on the external stuff.
The way we handle the logistical adversity with this show is kind of when I knew how special this group was going to be.
We all were still staying positive. We all had that mindset of, this is the first show. We're going to go out there and kill it.
It's a beautiful day here at Forsyth Central, and we are excited for the show.
It immediately turned to all hands on deck.
I think in terms of logistics, we handled our job really well, and we kept our eyes on the prize.
You kind of just hone it all back in. Even despite all the chaos, you go back into like the headspace of you're performing and you flip that switch. Like all of the chaos and everything, the floor rolls out and everything is zoned back in.
And the performance that they eventually went out there and did, only these group of kids could do something like that.
All the poise that they had was just gone. They saw people for the first time, and they decided, you know what, I'm gonna give these guys a show.
I think we had a lot of the product on the floor, which we haven't had in the past.
For the most part, it didn't feel real. I am doing my best to just stay calm and perform.
The kids were awesome. They were like relaxed, they were playing pretty well. But the issue when you decide to suddenly give someone a show is if you haven't been doing that in rehearsal, it's your first time effectively doing that show.
I appreciate not being different than rehearsal. Yes. Which is not good.
So it wasn't our best run, but again, I'm glad we did it. It was a good learning experience.
So, firstly, how do we think it went?
Very energetic.
Yeah?
Different. Felt better.
Felt better.
From an energy standpoint. Just a lot of like forgetting things, starting things off wrong.
Those all sound correct to me. Energy, some mistakes, etc. I want to say, this is a large organization. This is a 90-person operation. And I think today was a great learning experience for everyone on every side of that operation. From your side of things, from a performance standpoint, here was my perspective of it. I saw people making faces, doing dips, doing teeth grits, doing smiles, doing arm stuff, doing post-lick hype that I've never seen before. We tell you, treat the rep in rehearsal like that. So when you go in there, you do something you're comfortable with. Yes? So I was amazed at how comfortable you were after chaos. And then you got on the floor, and that comfortability and that poise I saw at pre-show went away. Because you were hyped, because you had kids in front of you, right? You had parents going crazy. You don't get that in rehearsal. You don't get that, kind of vibe back from the crowd. There's no crowd. You have to create a crowd every rep. So, that's the bad part. The good part, you just unlocked something you didn't have prior, right? So when we tell you in rehearsal, give me everything you got, right? Micah has every turn possible to get you to emote, to get you to give 100%. Because that was you giving 100%. That vibe, that energy, when we're talking energy, that's what you need to recreate, right? And it's okay, because you just learned that. You just learned what it takes to be successful. It's that every single time. So, if we want to be the best group we can be, that is the expectation every rep, period. And you'll know if you're given that, right? Because you've experienced it now.
Not only have they never been through that, they've never operated on this level, they've never had this many expectations.
We ask a lot of them, and it's part of why I'm so proud of this group, because they did a great job of navigating all those different parts.
AQ on 3, AQ on 3. 1, 2, 3. AQ!
The commitment level is unlike any real activity out there. There's nothing like what we do. We just go nonstop. And on top of that, we ask them to rehearse or to practice themselves. So when they come to rehearsal, they're ready. So a lot of times we get video assignments. We say, hey, we want you to make sure we're all rehearsing the same stuff.
I mean, no one does this if they don't love it. And it's hard to love it when you grind. It really is hard to love it. Some of the main struggles with the regular season is availability. You know what I mean? From the staff side, even the kids side.
So we ask them to give up their entire weekend, right? These are college kids, but instead they come to us Friday to Sunday and just drum.
I was taking 6 classes. Everything was crazy. I tried to just leave my personal life out of it. When I come to the weekends, I was like, okay, we are working on this one thing.
It is stressful, especially when we were in the heat of the season. It's just finding a good balance. Every chance I had, I was critiquing myself and what I can do better.
We ask a lot of them. It's admirable, and it's part of why I'm so proud of this group, because they did a great job of navigating all those different parts.
What do you think of that run? That was energy. What's up? It wasn't very clean. I think we're tired. It is 120, so I'll give you a break on the clarity.
The regular season, once we get going in competition, it's sometimes so opposite from what we tell the kids. It's a battle between consistency of the inconsistencies. I mean, we tell the kids every single week, we need the same thing every time, and we actually need more from you every time. But the rehearsal site will change. The rehearsals and what we need to do is going to change. We're going to have an idea that's not going to work. We're going to have a show that didn't go well. Now we need to do a rewrite.
It's chaos almost, because you're learning more of the show, and you maybe have 2 blocks, 2 3-4 hour periods to learn this part of the show and produce it. So it's very difficult to stay focused and stay grounded and not get too high and too low.
Since we do have so few and scattered rehearsal weekends, I feel like everyone comes into it with a different level of drive. It really just comes down to setting a good example, doing everything as best as you can, as fast as possible.
That was something that they really implemented a lot this season, was perform your reps like they're your last.
One of our goals was keeping the energy high but still playing clean.
Everyone knows what the goal is. Everyone knows where we have to get this weekend to set up success for next weekend, to set up success for the last weekend, and that's what me and TJ do. We pretty much figure out the needs of the ensemble and make it happen every single weekend.
I'm telling you right now, I think I can speak for the whole staff. This has got to be the coolest thing we've ever done. This production is on another level, and the stuff that we've added and the effort that you've put in is making a huge, huge difference. I just want to make sure that now you understand we've got 14 days left to maximize as individuals. You're getting so good at so many things that the little bitty details are starting to matter. Those are the ones that are going to keep us where we want to be. 14 days left, that's it. And this group will never be the same. Let's really maximize that, okay?
Really proud of you guys, and I hope you guys have a great Meet Quest tonight.
Meet Quest is when we get all of our current member and current staff from Atlanta Quest and Q2, our open class group. We all come together, and then all the parents, a lot of the friends.
It's a great send-off for their friends and family to come see them, but I even argue to the kids, the most important part are the alumni that show up. The people and the alumni that are coming here, they are coming here tonight for a completely different reason, right? They want to see what's going on, they want to see what you guys have been up to, they want to see where the product is, but that feeling you guys have on the car rides and the sleepovers and the long days and the blood, the sweat and tears, you're not the first person to do all that, to have the arguments, to clean the rolls, to redo the dots. You're not the first person driving with the McDouble or whatever the hell in your mouth trying to get to rehearsal. That thing is very special, it's indescribable. They're just trying to get a little bit of that feeling again.
It's crazy because it's just like you're giving back to the people who really got you to where the organization is.
Ever since I joined this activity, my freshman year of high school, I looked up to Quest and I knew that I wanted to do that. And so looking up to the role models at that time and then being one, it's just amazing.
And it's always a full circle moment. It's always a moment to take a second and say that, hey, you know, Atlanta Quest is something bigger than a season.
Andy, do you feel that the public has impulsed your heart?
You know, the Q2 group, a lot of these kids are 15, 16, so they're younger, so they're there wanting to take the step to the big leagues, right? Wanting to get to Atlanta Quest eventually. They always have super entertaining shows.
What's interesting is that AQ and Q2 are not the same group. You know what I mean? There are so many similarities, but there are a lot of differences, and I feel like they've both developed their own identity, and that's why it's able to thrive.
I think it's really special how close Q2 and AQ are. I loved how all of AQ was sitting in the stands watching Q2 perform while we're hyping them up and screaming.
Being able to see Q2's show was monumental, and being able to like hype them up and cheer them on.
Q2 did amazing. The drums lit up. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I mean, that was gas.
One of the coolest Q2 shows I've ever seen.
The connection with Q2 and AQ, it's something very valuable because we can only be as strong as Q2 is.
I'm gonna go out here and show out real quick. Excited to give them a good show.
Get this on tape now. Every year we have a Meet Quest. Somebody falls.
A bass drummer falls down, but not tonight. We're gonna break it. We're gonna break it. Double knot your shoes. Eyes up. Eyes up.
I'm calling it out. No curse.
No curse.
Book it. No curse. Nobody falls.
No one's going on for
concussion
protocol tonight.
You got the Micah Hanner guarantee.
It was probably one of our most comfortable shows because we're not being judged. We're only being judged by like our friends and family and Quest alumni.
It's got everyone there that you're doing it for, you know, all the people who really support you, watching you at the same time.
It's just a time to show who you love what you're doing every weekend.
It's cool to see that legacy of what we were 20 some odd years ago and what we are now. It's awesome to see the alumni look at these members or talk to me and say, I can't believe they're doing what they're doing.
And then when we perform, they're cheering us on, and so it's just like a big supportive group of people you love, and that's just an amazing feeling.
Nobody fell. I called it.
There's AQ, there's Q2, and then there's Quest. The Quest is like the umbrella that we're all under. It's vital to our success here.
feeling good, feeling excited. Excited because I know we're going to get a lot better.
Going into this last weekend, there's much more confidence. There's not as much nerves.
Goals this weekend, just not have any tired reps. I feel like a lot of our reps this year have been just, especially towards the end of Saturdays and Sundays, been just doing it to do it instead of just going all out all the time. Just bring the vibe, you know?
So firstly, I want you to go into this weekend with the mindset of I am in Dayton, Ohio. I am in Dayton Arena finals night. That's the pressure you have to feel. And at this point, you should feel pressure. We just have to do our job to the fullest every rep. Does that make sense? And it's just a decision you have to make because you're all good enough. It's just a choice. It's going to be an intense weekend, but it's going to pay off if we treat it with the seriousness that it deserves. We're just cleaning this thing and we're getting hyper clean and we're getting hyper focused on consistency and giving us, your members, the same effort and the same execution every rep.
Everyone wanted to just like get back and make finals. It was drive and hunger for being in finals again is what was pushing everybody.
Not a lot of the kids here have done it at the big show. They haven't done it to this level. Some people in the group from the previous year never got to do it at that final big stage. It's the fear of the unknown of what's going to happen that's kind of looming around the entire weekend.
Step 2, here we go. Hold for Ben. And step 2, here we go.
It's a great time to be at this point of the season. I mean, we really don't have anything to learn. And now it's really a time to kind of get back to the basics. We've learned the show in the hands, we've learned the show in the feet, what to do, we've learned how to perform the show, but let's get back to the details. Let's get back to what it makes Atlanta Quest great, and let's get back to why we always stand out whenever we get to Dayton, and it's a high level of play.
If we're not clean here, dig it out. We're not even setting ourselves up for success. Yes, we have to be clean. Dig it. We're playing rhythms. Here we go. We're not playing diddles or singles. We're playing rhythms. Here we go.
Gotta be obsessed with it, guys.
The only thing that you need to worry about, it's not when the next show is. It's not what changes are gonna come. It's, can I do my job perfectly every time? No full group does perfectly every single rep, but the more chances you get and the more comments you get and the more confident you get in what you're doing just by doing it 1,000 times, it helps you really execute the way you want to. No rep is more important than any other rep. That is the whole thing we're trying to get across to you. There is no rep that's important than any other rep. The only rep we do in Dayton is the reps we trained ourselves to do here.
Gotta have your brain switched on, guys. Gotta have your brain switched on. We've done so much with this, right? The old mindset ain't gonna cut it.
I felt a little bit of pressure that weekend because you know what's coming up and you know you have to show up. You're working on consistency, and I think that's very individual. Like that last weekend, I'm very focused on my mental state and like, okay, what am I thinking at this part of the show? What am I thinking at this part? And making sure that it's consistent throughout every single rep I do.
We're pushing every rep like we're performing it, and we're just trying our best to get through it and perform as much as we can and really have like no mistakes right before prelims.
We are in Troy, Ohio for finals week, baby.
Feeling great, man. Coffee in the veins. Gonna have some well-tuned drums. It's gonna be a good day.
The Wednesday rehearsal is just about acclimating to being in Ohio and kind of calming your nerves, because it is a little bit, you get to Ohio and you're like, oh God, like this is the thing, you know?
I think everybody sort of gets a little bit more serious once we're taken out of our home environment. So I think once we got up there, just seeing the different environment, that made everyone just sort of zone in a little bit more.
We've talked about the sacrifice, we've talked about the commitment, we've talked about the pain that goes into executing what we need, physically and mentally. It's draining, right? But we've sold it the whole time. When you get in there and you give your final performance, it's all gonna be worth it. And they could just feel it. They could feel how close they were.
Yeah, hey, just keep this up. Take care of your bodies, drink water, eat some bananas. Just make sure you can continue this energy for the rest of the day, because I'm telling you right now, consistency is key.
Feeling good, bro. Yeah. Prelims tomorrow, one more block.
That was a really productive rehearsal, and I'm excited to eat dinner.
If you sleep in, you not waking up.
most important show in finals week is prelims.
This is when we really separate ourselves from the noise. There's going to be groups here that are pushing the envelope, setting the bar, and really establishing what world class means, and we have to go out there and show them that we're a part of those groups.
Last year we got one shot. We were out. One shot. So the pressure's on for the staff and the members to execute.
We dealt with a lot of adversity, but the one bad thing about the night is that there was people holding back.
Right now we're getting a little bit to the A's and B's. We're in our safety zone, right? Yes, those matter, but we got to check all the boxes. So what else? Bring me more.
You guys all watch TV shows and movies. If you're not in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, let's get out of this thing, right? We don't have that long, and it's got to be perfect.
The expectation isn't great for this group. The expectation really is that we lost it.
The people that went through that, they could just feel it. They could feel how important it was. And they knew they had to carry the guys that weren't there. And the guys that weren't there, they knew what their fellow members, what they went through last year. And it was cool because the connection was so strong with every member. Everyone wanted it just as bad as each other.
That night block, I saw a group that wanted to push themselves, that wanted to do more than just what was asked of them. Not just for themselves, but for the person standing next to them.
Tomorrow when we roll out, we come down the tunnel, push all the props on, floor, we're ready to go. You take a deep breath, you calm your mind, you're ready to do your show. This is the time when you are at best. Not at worst, you don't have a worst. We don't have those reps in us. At your best, this is when you make your presence felt. This is when you show them that we are different than the other 30 groups. The first time they see you is huge. What's your presence feel like? Ask yourself that, like when you come out, what are you giving off? Because I'm telling you right now, if it's all the same energy, the audience is in for a treat. Because this show is powerful, and when you guys are on, I mean, we talked about it over dinner, it's wild. But we've got to be there. I want you to remember something going into tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. We all have lives outside of this, we're all busy. Listen to what I'm about to say. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. Nothing else matters. Everyone in this room matters, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You have nothing else to do but this, and do it well.
You know, there's so many people that'll say, this is what Atlanta Quest is, this is what Atlanta Quest feels like, but I promise it is a feeling, it is an attitude, it is an approach, it is something you can't maybe write about, it's something you have to experience, and it's something you gotta really believe. A lot of the kids are really committed to going up to Dayton and doing it, and finally had the chip on the shoulder that I think they definitely deserved.
We're coming.
Right now we're in the lot.
Dayton, baby!
We're in Dayton, prelims day. We're finna unload the truck, hop in some subs.
Beauty Arena, lots of drums. I'm ready to have a great run, man.
I can't wait to go in there and make history.
The moment's very different in Dayton than it is in Atlanta. It's bigger, there's more people. So there's some nerves involved, but the lot is where we warm up. They stand in the lot and just watch you drum.
I felt like the lot was the energy we needed.
I'm giddy about getting inside and seeing what you guys are about to throw down, okay? You did this for the person standing next to you, and they did it for you, and that's a magical, incredible, incredible thing, okay? Let's make sure we go out there and they see that this is on purpose, and they see our purpose, yeah? Why we did this. Let's show them how much we honor our work, yeah? Incredible, incredible stuff, and we're on the precipice of something very, very amazing this afternoon. I'm excited, yeah?
But every now and then you get these little pockets of silence where I feel like everybody was kind of remembering what today really meant.
I think it was drive and hunger for like being in finals again is what was pushing everybody. It's crucial to make a good first impression.
You want to come out there and have everyone in the audience and the judges be like, wow, Atlanta Quest. It just sets you up well for the rest of the weekend.
I really wanted to make people see us and be like, oh yeah, Quest is back.
presenting their program, Bring Me a Dream. WGI Sport of the Arts is proud to present Atlanta Quest.
Really good run from a clarity standpoint. It was clean. We were playing together. We were moving together. We were dancing together. It was a little safe, we call it, right? Like it was clean, it was safe, but it wasn't like in your face like we wanted it to be.
My impression was the beginning of the show felt kind of like safe and slow.
There was just a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of knowing like, hey, I'm starting to back down a little bit because I want to be a little safe. I want to make sure we can get to Friday until we're in a position to make it to Saturday.
Came in 12th, day one. We were slotted perfectly where we wanted to be, which was in that finals bucket.
Right after prelims run, I got off the bed, and once the adrenaline cooled off and we're outside, the first thing I was like, I need ice on my foot right now.
There's a lot of commitment that comes to this activity, and I argue constantly, man, sometimes I feel like we ask too much of these kids. And we asked one kid more than everybody else, and it was Joe. There's so much focus on her. There's so much dedication and time of what she's doing and how we're gonna tell this whole story for everyone centered around this one person. And after prelims, once her ankle starts busted, it is one of the most nerve-wracking things. You want her to be healthy. We want her to be able to go out there and have a good performance.
The staff were probably the biggest supporters. There are times where people are like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, but I wanna be in here. Everyone else is pushing their bodies to their limits, regardless of how much pain I was in. I just wanted to be out there and be with all of them.
She's given it everything she can. She continued to elevate herself, knowing that, hey, it's not about how I'm gonna feel in 2 weeks. It's about what I gotta do to be ready for this performance and for this group.
The biggest worry was a penalty. It was sand. One
of the main rules is you can't leave anything behind. So we've really been all over the sand. We have sweeping crews, we got vacuums. We're really gonna make sure that there's no sand gonna be on the floor. They go to do the very first thing of sand through this nice, delicate cymbal feature, and in the entire time, there's just this cloud of sand and smoke just floating into the stands.
And we've been using sand all year, but the lighting is so much better in that arena. We never really saw our dust linger before.
As soon as you start breaking rules, the points just start coming off.
It's about a 10-point penalty, which puts us in last place.
As everything we worked for, the whole concept of the show, gonna shoot us right in the foot right when we got here.
Luckily, WGI just gave us a warning. They said, hey, you can't do that again. We said, well, we definitely won't.
So what does that mean?
I think you gotta get it wet.
Okay.
A lot of stress in the staff world. We had to water it, we had to spray it, we had to mix it, we had to make it look more like mud almost, right, than sand. We were not gonna have any lingering dust.
This is gonna be the second greatest day
in Quest history. Tomorrow will be the first.
It's no secret making it to Friday is a win. But I would even argue Semis is the most competitive day.
You got to do it better. You got to have a better run because you have new judges. So it's important that you have a better show. So at least people say, wow, yeah, you really are good. But if you put some doubt in their mind, you can get kicked out. And that has to do with staff too.
SAN Team 6 is a specialized force of staff members who were tasked the daunting responsibility of making sure that we don't receive a penalty from the lovely TNP judges at WGA.
Okay, now we're getting close to the final goal, and we're either going to knock it out of the park or we're going to fumble the bag. I'll be honest, I don't have every skill to run this ensemble at the highest level and every little thing, but I know one of the main reasons I'm here and one of the main reasons that motivates me to be here is my ability to narrate and motivate what these kids need to be feeling and emotionally going through in these big moments.
I just want to take a moment to talk about something that happened yesterday, and it's really important to me that it doesn't go unnoticed, okay? We get to the stadium, we walk in, we're checking out the venue, and we look at the main ad that WGI is running. And who the hell was on that image? Right? Okay? I've talked so much this season about we're doing this on purpose and we're on a path that's greater than ourselves. There's a lot of groups that compete in WGI. There's a lot of groups that competed last year. We didn't even make semis. The reason that's such a big deal to me, my group in North Carolina, Wake Forest Independent, in 2014, I was loosely associated with the reason it folded. And I just in my head, I was like, you know what? I guess WGI is not for me. If I couldn't do it with my group, I guess I'm not gonna do it. In 2014, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go to Dayton, I'm gonna see my friends, I'm gonna have a good time, and I'm just gonna, enjoy it as a spectator. Came up, saw a few groups, I said, you know what, let's go to the tent. Went by the tent, and as soon as I walk in, on a big vinyl poster, it was me from the year before. And it might seem crazy to you, and this might even sound funny, but this is exactly what I thought. When I saw myself on the ad, I went, they want me back. It really meant a lot to me. And where did I go that next winter? I came down to Atlanta Quest. When I saw that ad yesterday, I said, they want us back. You see what I'm saying? I told y'all at the beginning of the season, we are doing something bigger than ourselves and that this is destiny. When I saw that ad, I said, they want us back. And today we're gonna get back. That's what today's performance is about. They said, you know what? We got you. We know the work y'all are putting in. That didn't happen on accident. This floor didn't get here on accident. We didn't show up today on accident. We did all this on purpose. And today we're gonna show them that purpose. But this is about to be a monumental day in AQ's history, and I hope you guys are excited for it, yeah? Are we ready to rock? Yeah! Let's do it. When you get people committed to a goal and willing to do whatever it takes for the person next to them, you're gonna see something magical happen. And it's not an accident we were on that ad.
Semis is just every single performance before that doesn't really matter. And you have to bring your best run that one time.
You've established yourself as a group that can compete, but now you have to set yourself apart again to make it to the last cut.
Not only do we need to get ourselves into finals, but let's set ourselves up to be competitive. Let's do something this group's never done before. We push down the hill, we set up the floor, and we have one of the most incredible performances I've ever seen this group put on.
When the waking world leaves you wanting, weary, sleep brings you here to a world full of endless dreamers.
incredible run of my life.
What more could you ask for in a semifinals run, people?
Exactly.
I mean, like,
best run
the
of the
nerves,
season,
the nerves turned into energy, and the energy turned into performance. It was like
top of the tunnel and grab
banger.
You ain't never seen a group work this hard before. This hasn't been done.
I think we showed up. I mean, it doesn't even matter what happens next. We showed up, we did our thing. That's all we can do. You know, I think we're all proud of that.
I was just happy with how it went. I was like, we just did that.
Everyone's consensus was that was a really good run.
And as we're like enjoying ourselves and saying job well done and we're so proud of everybody, it's starting to kind of creep back in those nerves of, are we actually going to be able to make it to tomorrow?
You're going through the show and you're like, well, was it as good as I thought? Was the sand okay? You know, did we get a penalty on the sand?
For as much confidence that we had, even just a few hours ago, people are getting a little scared about what's going to happen.
And you sit there, right? And you got an app. You got two apps. You got the WGI app, and then you got like the score app. So one guy's over here refreshing on WGI. I'm over here refreshing the scores app for hours. And it's so stressful because it's out of your hands, right? You have no idea what's going to happen.
$90.9.
Let's go! Come on, team.
Okay, you love to see it.
Yes.
You love to see it.
Oh, that is awesome,
Yeah.
man.
Yes.
That's sick.
We're back. We're back.
Let's go! Let's go! I've been told y'all, if y'all sleeping, you're not waking up, man.
The moment where we got the news is maybe the most memorable moment of my 10 years at Atlanta Equestrian.
It was joy, it was relief, and all of us were just so excited that we were back.
You think about every single weekend and how hard you worked and everything you went through. It just pays off in that one moment, and it's so relieving that all your hard work led to that.
I've been waiting, now 2 years for this? I'm ready. I'm ready for this, baby. I'm ready for this.
What this group of kids did here this week is going to change the face of AQ. Next year, 5 years, 20 years from now, there's an Atlanta Quest because of these kids, and it's very, very special what just happened.
Seeing all the kids, especially the kids who went through it last year, the same gym, we learned the scores, and we sat down, we talked about what it felt like. We cried together and we talked about next year. And I looked at a lot of kids dead in the face. I said, look, you give me one more year, and we're gonna be at the same damn gym, same time next year, it's gonna be very different.
It felt so good and so much joy, but it immediately turned into, not only did we do it, we deserved to do it. We deserved to be here. The hard work did pay off, and let's be rock stars tomorrow.
All of the stress and anxiety we had before prelims, I think all of it just like eased off.
It really felt like, wow, like we did it. We worked hard, we're back.
And so it's just a lot of confidence and relief that we're back in finals.
It wasn't just a confidence that showed up on Saturday, it was a lightheartedness. It was about hugging people a little tighter. It's about telling everybody that we've been on a long road and we're at the end, but we're not there quite yet.
You know this is your last time performing Bring Me a Dream ever. And you just want it to be the best version of Bring Me a Dream that has ever lived.
I mean, it's a time where you get to show out. At that point, it wasn't for me, it wasn't for the score, it wasn't for anything, it was for each other, right? They trusted the process, and now they're living the fruits of their labors. And once you're in finals, you know you're one of the best in the world at it.
Now they got to just do it. This is the last time I'm ever going to see the show, and I can't tell them to run it back from the top. We're never going to do this again. And it's an incredible feeling. It's a scary feeling.
We are so back. I just feel amazing. Out here with all my friends, and I couldn't be happier. At this time in my life, I'm the happiest I've ever been because we did what we said we would do.
I think everyone involved that really had put time into the season wasn't prepared for how great the performance actually was going to be. When she pulls her mask off and just screams, she was screaming for every person in the group. She was letting them know that it's us, it's here, goodbye, this is the end of the show, this is the end of the season, this is what Atlanta Quest really is.
Undescribable, like I don't have words to describe this feeling, but people who do this activity know exactly what it feels like, and this is why we do it. All the hard work just leads to this moment, and it's incredible, and I'm so thankful that I got the opportunity to do this.
That's maybe the best iteration of Atlanta Quest I've ever seen. I want you to think about the last year. I want you to think about the pain of last year. I want you to think about the grind we did. I want you to feel all that frustration and pain, and we're gonna get it out. We're gonna scream right now because we just ushered in a new era of Atlanta Quest. And everything behind us is done. Because we have a new era thanks to y'all and the work you put in the last year. I couldn't be more pumped. Hey, I love you guys so much. This year's been a dream, man. It's been unbelievable. And let's get it out. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
They're pumped, they're beating their chest. They know what they did. With the groundwork of commitment, of hard work, of belief, of trusting in the process, from the top down.
When we we get to that hug with me and TJ, it's just like that same moment is I said I was in and you said you were in and we were in. You know, we actually did it. We actually committed to something. We said we were gonna do it and we did it.
We did it, baby.
And there's no greater feeling, and that absolutely sums up what keeps me in this activity for this long.
Hey, the path doesn't stop here. You guys are destined for greatness for the rest of your life. Congratulations on this feeling. Congratulations on the work. Thank you on three, thank you on three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you!
Thanks, man. I love you, dog. No. Good work. It's all worth it, man.
Introducing Burlington Centennial High School in Atlanta West.
You know, we get out there and it's just like the dream came true.
It's just the ultimate celebration. You're living through it, but you feel like it's a dream. There's so many reasons why we're gonna be there, right? From the very beginning, the expectations from the year before, the ups and downs of the season that we had just had to go through. So even if kids had been there before, I felt like for everybody at Atlanta Quest, it really did feel like that very first time.
90.25 Atlanta West.
There's probably 800 kids out there. I could only see our group. I could only see their faces, but it was completely different seeing the confetti this year. They had the confetti for everybody, but it was really for us. It felt like we earned the confetti just a little bit more than every other group there.
Hey man, if you're sleeping, you're not waking up. AQ 2023, baby. We're back, baby. Yeah, we're back. We're back and never going back.
These kids got to know it doesn't happen on accident. You work at it, you commit to it, and it's to give those kids that feeling to let them know that, hey, this is bigger than drums.
It reinstilled the culture and the work ethic of the membership. And there's just a belief around what we're doing now.
We'll be even better this upcoming season.